Good morning, Delaware. Welcome to the USTA Speaker Series. I'm your host today. I'm TJ Burkett. I'm the editor of Hoofbeats Magazine. We got some very special guests. These guys are a lot of fun. I hope they're woke up and they're ready to go. We're also live streaming on the internet. And how it works is that I'm going to get a few questions started for Ronnie and Aaron here, and then raise your hand and you can ask any questions you'd like to them. They did tell me that to keep the questions short and sweet in the beginning so they can catch up and wake up a little bit.
No, we're all right.
And then we're also going to be taking questions from the internet. We also have a whole lot of free things that we're giving away. We have Hoofbeats subscriptions, t-shirts, Little Brown Jug photos from our photo archive. And the sign-up sheet is going around. Allison Conti, our social media coordinator, has that. So if you want to sign up for the free giveaways, raise your hand and she'll come over and get you in the sign-up. I have a couple right now, so I'm going to give away a couple of things. First of all, we snagged some of the T-shirts they were giving away at Ohio Super Night at Scioto Downs the other day. So the winner of a free Scioto Downs T-shirt is Robert Kaufman. Robert Kaufman, go ahead and have a seat. We'll bring it right over to you. Allison, they're right there in the box. I'll give away a Hoofbeats subscription to Bob Carey. Bob Carey, there you go. All right. We'll get you set up here. And like I said, all you got to do is sign up, and we'll do another drawing before the next session. The mic keeps going on. And we'll give away one more thing. I dug into the Hoofbeats photo archives and found some historic Little Brown Jug photos. And so I have no idea what this one is. You'll find out when you get it. That one will go to Gordon Douglas. Gordon Douglas, all right. And like I said, sign up on the sheet. It's going around. Raise your hand. Awesome. Come around with that. So let's get started. Today we have the number 1 and number 2 winningest drivers in North America this year. We're also the number 1 and number 2 winningest drivers in North America last year. Here we have Ronnie Wrenn Jr. and Aaron Merriman. Welcome, guys. Thank you. Everybody's mics work. All right. Good. So, like I said, I'll get started with some questions, and then when you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand. The first question I had, Aaron, is for you. You're a regular driver at the Meadows and at Wingfield Park. And we want to know how in the world do you race at the Meadows in the afternoon and then make it to the car at Wingfield Park that night? How do you do it?
He gets a lot of speeding tickets. Barely. I mean, I think I'm getting ready to lose my license again, I think. So that's not a good thing. But it's like, I think it's 138 miles. I usually just get off the bike and pretty much get in my car and go to Wingfield. So it's kind of tedious at times, but I mean, when you have a good day, it's like a very, very gracious. It's very, very rewarding.
Everybody here in the back there, we have, shake your head no if you can't hear. Ronnie can't hear. All right, guys, speak up. Speak up when you talk. Hold on, I can hear you. Yeah. It's on. Aaron, to follow up to that question, do you ever have somebody drive for you when you go from track to track?
Very rarely. We have like a road dog, but he's way more dangerous than I am to drive, so I just kind of do myself most of like 99% of the time.
Same question to you, Ronnie. You go from track to track too. How do you handle getting from track to driving all the places that you drive?
I actually have a road dog all the time, whether it's the 72-year-old man that also drives Aaron that you can't even see, or if it's my buddy that's still sleeping because he's too drunk coming over to come here.
Big Delaware got the better of that young man. Well, I think the last year we put him on the spot in here and told all the single ladies he was looking, but he had no takers.
We should probably keep this more professional.
All right, we'll talk about horses then, I guess.
Wait, did you get to the last night?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you. You did too. All right, we'll talk horses. Ronnie, last time we saw you was at Scioto Downs. You won the Buick Memorial with Dewap Hanover. It was the first time you'd ever driven that horse. In general, what do you do when you're climbing into the bike for the first time on a horse you've never driven?
You might want to take a little peek at the program or just talk spoke with Steve earlier in the week, and that horse is another source, obviously. And he drew a good spot, hit the 5 hole, and the 5 hole is a great spot at Scioto. And I went forward off the gate, and it worked out. I was able to get a slow second quarter, and he was on his way good.
What's the best horse you're driving currently?
Definitely.
And then same question to you. What's the horse you're most excited about driving this year?
All of them. Like anyone that wants to win. That's what I like. I really don't necessarily pick favorites. I drive a Charles Camaraderie. I really like driving just because he's real tough. And he doesn't need a good trip. The whole thing Cameron. So I think like horses that don't need a good trip, they like to win.
I'll open the floor to questions. Any other questions right now? Yeah, we got one right over here.
It relates back to the first question. Where do you live closer to? Which track?
Northfield Park. I live like a mile from them. So, and I go back and forth every day. So I commute to the Meadows is where, like, really, I guess I'm a full-time Meadows driver because I usually stay there for the full card. And then, Northfield is secondary. But the first money's getting better, so I've kind of been, going back to Northfield a little bit more sometimes, too.
Okay. And you?
I currently live in, southern Toledo area, but probably in the future I'll be like a gypsy and maybe just bounce around certain places, like Lebanon and Northfield. So I'll probably move back toward Cleveland.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the floor right now? Now, recently you had a 9-win night, I believe. Any several you've had in recent years. When you get a night like that, tell us who aren't drivers what that feeling is like. Is it good horses, or are you a better driver that night, or how does it happen?
Things just have to work out. Like, I drove, last week when that did happen, I drove a lot of good horses. I drove a lot of favorites. They were in good spots, and, I won the first out of 10 races, and I really thought I had a shot for 10. Like, when you win 9, you want to get that last one, you want to get 10, but it just didn't work out. But, it was a special night, and, definitely the horses really make the difference there.
What do other drivers and horsemen in the paddock tell you when you're on a night like that? Do they tease you a little bit, or?
Yeah, they joke with you a little bit, but, if they're not winning and I'm winning, I don't know, there's really not much said. We're there to work and make money, so. I think Aaron was actually pretty happy that I won 9. I think he was happy about it.
Yeah, I am. I mean, you got to have friends, too. Like, during the races, I was like, okay, I'm trying to beat him. But after the races, I was probably the first one to say something, or the only person to say something, But when you're getting beat up on, it's not any fun. You're like, oh, my God, stop. It's like you're laying on the ground and getting kicked. No, but he's tough. He's tough to drive with.
You're driving with these guys, the same drivers every night, and traveling together a lot of times and going to and racing at different tracks with each other. What's the camaraderie like with other drivers?
We have mostly, I think, I go a lot of places. I've got a really good reputation to most everybody. I really don't, some people get a little bit cranky, I guess, after a race. I really don't. I get cranky with myself, but these are your peers. You're with them every day. you might as well get along with them, And the competitive spirit's probably a little bit more, especially when the races are going, but when it's done, like if him and I go somewhere, we do not talk about horse racing. We love it or whatever, but we're not we don't have a program. We're not driving down the road oh my gosh. I just will say oh, you have 9 in. Congratulations on your 8 wins today. Before the races. That's about the gist of it. You know what I mean? He's like, oh my God, stop.
Go ahead and add to that, Ronnie.
Yeah, we have a really good driving colony at Northfield. I actually think it's really underrated. The spotlight gets kind of set on me and Aaron. A lot of people talk about us, but from top to bottom, very good drivers. They can all handle a horse, and we all get along pretty well for the most part. You have your odd race where you might argue or have something to say after the race, but no, I actually think it's a very underrated driving colony, and most of the drivers can drive anywhere if they wanted to.
Speaking of the driving colony, in the Yonkers Trot, this didn't involve you guys, but in the Yonkers Trot there was an objection lodged where another driver cried foul, and we just never see objections lodged by drivers. Why is that?
I don't do it. I think I filed one in my life, and it was at Raceway Park when I first started. I just don't do it. I think it's a judge's job, number one. I think they that just like, I mean, there's this subject can go off on many different tangents, but I think it's the judge's job. They get paid. That's all they have to do is watch a horse race. You know, there's 3 of them, and to see if there's anything, even if it's a little bit of a quip in a race. You know, what I mean, they should look at it, and whether it takes them 10 seconds or 10 minutes, they got to get it right. But I don't really file objections. I think there's, especially when you drive with the same guys every single day, you really don't want to. Just let the judges do their job. I mean, do I think that you should file in that situation? If you didn't think there's going to be an inquiry, you're going for that kind of money? I mean, absolutely. You know, but I'm definitely not going to file an inquiry for 8th or 9th or 7th and 6th. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think the judges should put more inquiries up. Like, they're real quick to just make it official sometimes, and I don't always agree with that. Like, I don't put an objection in ever. Like, the first time I wanted to do it, like, years ago, I shouldn't even admit this, but I didn't even know how to do it. Like, after the race, you're supposed to tell the starter, but, you know, I'm just not one to put an objection in, you know. I mean, I put a wheel under someone all every race, so you know, who am I to say?
I'll open the floor again. Raise your hand. We have a question over here from Communicators Hall of Famer Carol Kramer.
Thank you. I want to know, guys, if you feel the same when you come to Delaware to race here, and knowing the tradition and the fame of this half-mile track, and in the sport of harness racing for all the years, and all the great champions that race here, do you really get a kick out of the whole scenario here with the camping and racing?
I get a kick out of you, I'll tell you that. You are a tough lady.
I gave him a
And my Michigan tent is still standing, I just want to let you know.
I gave him some bull because he put up a Michigan tent, and I kind of rubbed him a little bit the first day or two about that. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I took off double headers to be here, and I drove a bunch of overnights yesterday, and I was more than, you know, it's just, they weren't the greatest horses, but it's kind of just cool being here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's here for the racing, you know what I mean? Maybe there's some extracurricular activities that people also enjoy, but mostly people are here for the racing, and they don't get to get out much, and it's an opportunity for them to, you know, be up close and, you know, personal with the horses here.
Yeah. Well, this place has had, 40, 50, 60,000 people in here to see these horses, and no one loves racing any more than, people here and come to Delaware. Love seeing you guys, the young guns coming up, and the old guys that, used to be here love this place. And I just wanted to know if you had the same type of respect for this.
Yeah,
this
it's a wonderful vibe here. I mean, that's for sure. It's just, the vibe here is unbelievable. And even though you're out there finishing last on the track, it's you can kind of like say, okay, well, we're at Delaware.
Yeah, it's fun to be here. Like, this lady's ringtone was the stretch call of last year's Little Brown Jug. I mean, you don't get that at the grocery store. Like, you only get it at Delaware County Fair. No, it's really fun, to be part of this week and, enjoy doing this. And, for years to come, maybe we can do this to entertain you guys.
Thanks very much, Carol, for an excellent question, too. Dave Brower, CBS Sports Network, guys. First of all, I want to say on behalf of all of us sitting here and everyone out there listening on the Internet, thank you both very much for giving up your Wednesday morning. We know you have a long work day ahead of you, and it's going to be hot today. So a quick round of applause for the guys first. Then I'll pepper them with a couple of good questions, I hope. All right, thanks. Aaron, let's go to you first. Last year, you had your first jug drive. Last year, I think you were in the Hambletonian as well, so you got to come to the Meadowlands and compete in the sport's most important race. And did you get the nickel, too? Were you fourth or fifth?
Yeah, I was fourth.
You got the fourth. All right, so good for that. What was it like throughout that season to be able to finally compete in those types of races, something that you've dreamed about for a long time?
Unbelievable. Surreal, really, and when you're in a race like that, you have that opportunity. It almost doesn't make a difference if you're a long shot or not. If you have a shot to win, I mean, there's a lot of really good drivers that's never got to drive in the Hambletonian, and I got to drive in the Oaks this year. I just had a lot of opportunities here to drive some Grand Circuit races, and thank you, Chris Beaver, for giving me the opportunity with some of these trotters. But it's just unbelievable, and you go to tracks and you get drives and things like that. It just kind of shows that you're being noticed. You know what I mean? Even though you're from the Midwest or whatever,
There were a couple of slots available with doubles in the two eliminations. Were you on the phone to anybody to try to pick up one for this year?
No, I don't. My phone usually only works for like ESPN or Twitter or something like that. And if someone, if someone sends me a text, I'll message them back or call them. But I'd really, I love high technology, but I'd really like to live without a phone sometimes.
I tried to get Tactor's number, but my phone died before I get the text out to drive.
Well, here's an interesting topic that came up on Facebook, thanks to Murray Brown from Hanover Shoe Farms, who's sitting here with us. Thoroughbred jockeys have agents who do all the work. They make the phone calls. They usually make the decisions and tell the jockey who they're going to ride. We don't have that in harness racing. Why do you think that is? And if ever approached, would you consider hiring an agent for both of you? Let's start with Ronnie with that one.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. I mean, someone to help us, maybe get to the next level. Like, me and Aaron, like he said, he's not going to text or whoever it may be for that drive, even though maybe that would be the right thing to do to try to promote yourself. But I think it would be a good idea to have an agent. I just don't know how to go about, including that in our business, like the thoroughbred jockeys do.
They get a much bigger amount fee. Just I think it's
they get 10%.
Yeah, and they get and then there's a mount fee and things like that or whatever. The jockeys, I think they make a little bit more and the purses are a little bit better. So I think that's one reason why we don't have agents. But some of the guys do a really, really good job of agenting themselves. But I wouldn't mind having one maybe just to do my doubles for me. You know what I mean? And hopefully pick the right horse, or because sometimes I just go not buy necessarily the best horse and maybe you should, but I don't. But I really think it's something to think about. Maybe someone could set something up.
Maybe, and that's why I credit Murray for bringing that to the forefront again. Last quick question before I give it back to TJ for Ronnie. You had a 9-winner night last week. How did you celebrate? What did you do after you hung up the colors?
I just flew home, went to bed.
All right.
But the nights that I don't win any is when I go out and celebrate and have a little fun.
All right, guys. Once again, thanks again so much for being part of it. And for the folks listening out there, please tune in. If you're not with us here in Delaware, Ohio, we're going to be live on CBS Sports Network from 5 to 6:30 tomorrow evening. So set those DVRs. Please watch us. Gary Seibel, Justin Horowitz, Heather Vitale, and I are going to bring you all the coverage of the 70th Little Brown Jug. TJ, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for all the hard work you do on the Little Brown Jug broadcast. Yeah, I see you there. For those of you just joining us, we're here with the number 1 winningest driver in North America currently. This is Aaron Merriman. And the number 2 winningest driver currently, but if he keeps having 9-win nights, he might be getting to number 1. This is Ronnie Wrenn Jr. here. We're taking questions from the floor and from the internet. We have a couple over here, so I'm going to come over here to another Communicators Hall of Famer. This is Murray Brown of Hanover.
Two-phase question to both of you guys. Phase one is, what other driver do you admire the most? And secondly, is there a driver out there who you think is great but doesn't get the recognition he deserves?
Oh, man. I admire the guys I race with, really, or that I grew up. I like Brett Miller. I'm a big Brett Miller fan. I'm a big Ronnie Wrenn fan. Matt Kakaley, huge Matt Kakaley fan. Those are guys I guess I admire. They're hard workers. And Brett, I mean, I really think that, I guess he's out east right now and he's getting the spotlight, but I really think he's as underrated as a guy could be. I think he definitely could drive any horse with anybody at any racetrack, by far.
I'm a fan of all the drivers that are going to drive here this week. I'm actually not driving today because I only had a few in, and I'm just looking forward to the great horse fillies that are going to race today in the Jugette, and seeing the top drivers from out east come here and drive. Me and Aaron may win the most, but I don't consider us really the top drivers. The top drivers are the guys that make all the money. So maybe one day if I can pursue that and be the winningest money earner, then yeah, I'll be very happy. But no, I'm just what's up? I'm just looking forward to today, and like I said, I'm a fan of the game as well. So.
All right, I'm back here in the back. We are giving away prizes and drawings between the Speaker Series events. I have sign-up sheets. Topher in the blue shirt here has a sign-up sheet, so raise your hand if you want to be involved in the prize drawings. We have Hoofbeat subscriptions, T-shirts, and I dug into the Hoofbeats photo archives and found some historic Little Brown Jug photos as well. So be sure to tell Topher and sign up to get into those drawings. Now I also have a question over here, sir.
Just to follow up to a question before, when you listed on multiple horses in a race, how difficult are those choices and how much time do you spend on it to decide which horse you're going to take?
I don't really spend that much time. Like, if it's at Northfield, I'm more loyal to Brian Ronnie because I drive almost all his there, or maybe Virgil Morgan. But I just try to take the best horse, and I don't think twice about it. If they draw inside and they look the best, I have no problem taking them. Aaron might take a little more time than I do in doing his doubles.
I put it off as long as I can usually, and usually only because I'm getting annoyed because the races are going on and probably like Monday Night Football's on and they the judges or the judge says, Aaron, do your doubles, and I just tell them I'm not mentally prepared to do my doubles. But I guess I put a lot into it. You know what I mean? Once I do it, but I don't really look that much. I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to make this person upset. That's more or less what I do. I really worry about like making somebody upset.
All right, raise your hand if you have any questions from the floor. Aaron, let's talk about Twitter. You've been on Twitter for, like 6 or 7 years now. I mean, you were on Twitter so long ago that I believe you were asked not to be on Twitter for a while there. So tell us about social media and how important that is for drivers.
I think it's very important. Any kind of questions, like just like we're here, people don't have the opportunity to come, to ask us anything, And I'm sure that a lot of people, the fans and things like that, don't have our phone numbers and don't have the opportunity, and the tracks need to do a little bit better job, in my opinion, of promoting our drivers and trainers and getting more in touch with the fans. I think it's very, very important because a lot of times, key information that you guys might want to know about either about owning a horse or, the handicapping or the reason why something happened in a horse race or the reason why we drove a horse a certain way. I think that we should be able to have some feedback, but I've been asked a lot of questions on Twitter. I've also been, ridiculed or whatever, and I take it okay. But for a while there, I was, doing my race analysis for, every race, and that was greatly, accepted. But I'm on the road a lot. I think it's very, very dangerous to try to I'm going, looking through my email to look at a race, and then I go on Twitter, and I was trying to, saying, okay, how I was going to drive the horse that day. But I really think social media is very, very important with technology these days. I think it can really, really broaden the horizons for the fans and, the drivers and the owners and trainers and things.
Ronnie, same question to you. What does social media mean to you as a driver?
I should probably be more involved with social media than I am. Aaron's pretty involved with it. But, no, it's very important to this business and to keep it going. If you ask some of the people, they probably don't even know what Twitter is. Some of the older people here, and it's a good way to promote the business and keep everyone involved. And like Aaron, he'll talk about a drive he had and reply to whoever it may be, the gambler or the fan that has asked him why he did this, why he made that move, and But like Aaron said, it's very important, to keep up to date with technology, like whether it may be Facebook, Twitter, what other applications out there, I don't know. But, like Aaron said, though.
Okay, raise your hand if you have any questions. We do have one from the internet. Allison, what is the question?
So this is going back a little bit to, it was a few months ago, Aaron, and you were fined at Northfield for talking on the track, and you were very vocally upset about it on Twitter. So somebody wants to know, what would they hear if they did, as you suggest, mic you guys up?
Not like what they think they're going to hear. This is like not the 1950s where, I don't know what they think is going on. I don't understand, especially here. I think, oh my gosh. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they would find somebody for talking on the track. It's absurd. I got days. I think I was talking to him, and I don't even know what we were talking about. But I'm not saying, "Hey, Ronnie, you know what I mean? What are you going to do here?" I think they should mic us up, and I think they say that these people say, "Hey, these guys are laid back. You know what I mean? They're just ready and focused for this race, or whatever. They're that loose." I was very, very disappointed that they took it to that extreme to fine and give me days. I was not happy.
I took my days and went to Florida, so I wasn't that upset. But, I'm not going to, beat around the bush. Obviously, we're not talking about what everyone thinks we'd be talking about, whether it'd be I don't even know if I should get into that, but, we're just having fun. At Northfield, we're out there a long time before the races. If you watch Northfield simulcast, they go about 5 minutes over zero every race. Yeah. So it gets really boring, and we just, try to keep focused, and we may drive by each other and just make a joke. But it's never nothing about I'm going to let you go, and nothing like that. Like,
usually he parks me.
We're out there to win. No.
Yeah, he parks me a lot, so he's definitely not saying that.
Well, we'll keep talking about rules. Recently, there was a new whipping rule instituted in Ohio. First of all, can you tell us kind of what the rules are and then how they affect you as a driver?
They don't affect me as a driver at all, but yeah, because I look like a girl. My arms don't really move that good, so they don't affect me at all. I don't agree with them. I don't agree they should take away a piece of equipment that's been used for so long. That's another thing where the judges should do their job. I think if a guy is being abusive with the whip, I think if a guy is whipping out of contention, I think if all that is entailed, the judge should pick that person out and that person only and fine them. I don't think that you should handcuff. I mean, I guarantee there's going to be a lot of kickback from this. Guys, gamblers and things like that saying the guy didn't even try. Well, we're so afraid to even move the whip or do anything like that or whatever that they're $300. Like, there's no questions asked. It's $300 if you whip wrong. And one of the things in Ohio, you cannot goose a horse in between their legs. I think that's another thing. Like, you're tickling them. You know what I mean? You're urging them to go in a non-harmful manner, and that's also $300. Like, if you see, they would rather us flail our arms around, like maniacs and not keep the horses, the bit in the horse's mouth, than be able to give the horse, a little shot there that's not, believe me, most of the time doesn't hit them. The saddle pads are so long, it go underneath their belly, but they would rather us look like wild, than anything else. I think they got the wrong idea.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it. I really didn't like it at first. At the 3/4 pole, I like getting after the horse, and urging them home, but cannot do that as much anymore. But, it's a bad rule. Like, I think it's easier to steer a horse down the stretch one-handed with the lines in the left hand and be able to whip. Now they're asking us to whip with the line in our hand, and when you do that, like, you're all over the track, and we look like a bunch of monkeys out there, like, because it's so different than what we're used to, especially the older guys. If they've done it their whole life, and now they're asking them to change their style of driving, it just takes away from the drivers. Like, that's why you guys are here. You like each one of us for our own different, like, styles of driving. And the judges and the commission's asking us to drive the same, like we're a bunch of robots. And I disagree with it totally, and I would tell anyone that. So that's how I feel about it.
Me too. And like I said, I don't have a whipping fine my whole life. I've been driving for 15 or 16 years, and it was brought to attention a couple times. Well, this I said, well, listen, I can't speak on it because I don't have whipping fines, and I think it's horrible. I had a horse yesterday pull up, make a right hand turn, a 2-year-old, like taking a line in one hand. I almost got flipped out of the bike. You know what I mean? Because I've got to try to make him stop, and he's not listening. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm trying to urge him with my lines in my hands. Well, all he's doing, he's just going away. And if I could have just put the lines in one hand, just gave him a little wake up call. We'll call it. Not to hurt him, but get his attention. And like I said, I could have been out of my bike yesterday. I was literally my foot was up in the air, and there's a situation there where it wasn't even. It was for safety. These horses, they're not push button.
And with that said, though, I also think that the rules they should have changed were, like, if a driver was out of contention and just beating his horse, yeah, they should have looked into that, something like that. But coming down the stretch, you as bettors and fans, you guys want us to urge the horse to win the race. You don't want us to sit there with the lines in our hand and look like we're doing nothing. So I think they should have went about it a different way rather than worrying about PETA because we look like we're abusing the horses, which we are not. So maybe one day they will I guess adjust the rules a little bit.
Now you guys, you don't only drive in Ohio. You go to Pennsylvania, you drive in Michigan, and the rules are different from state to state. How do you sort out and keep track of what the rules are from state to state?
It's easy for me. Like I said, I'm just so used to not whip driving, you know, using the whip, whatever, in Pennsylvania. But you can also, you know, do pretty much anything you want with your lines in the hand. You know, they're taught. You can't go like up above your shoulder and things like that or whatever, and try to like just pound on them. But like I said, it's almost more dangerous. You know what I mean? It's so hard to keep the, you know what I mean, your horse straight and like that. And I mean, the premier tracks in the country, they still allow one-handing. I mean, the Meadowlands, they allow one-handing, whether it's a couple times shots here and then you got to switch it up. But I mean, it's not really that hard because I just assume that I can't whip ever. So that's my mentality going everywhere. But Ohio now is the worst about it.
Yeah, I drive mostly just in Ohio, so, you know, the rules are the same at every track, you know, Northfield or Scioto or Dayton. So, you know, you just have to adjust, you know, because you don't want to get fined, you don't have to pay all those fines. So,
I think we need like a driver's guild where, you know, I mean, someone goes to bat for us. You know, I mean, it's so hard to organize and go against, you know what I mean, the judges and the commission. I mean, it's tough. It's tough, believe me.
All right, good comments, guys. We have about 5 minutes left here with Aaron Merriman and Ronnie Wrenn. Coming up at 9:50, we have trainer Brian Brown and the Wingfield brothers, Thomas, Robert, and Charlie. I see them here already, so it's good to see you guys. Do we have any questions from the floor for these guys while we still have them? Yes, we have one back here in the back. Amy Holler. Yeah, old boy is right.
That education between our trainers and our drivers and the betting public is very lacking in this business. What do you guys think about somehow setting up a system where if a patron has an issue, a problem with you know, a drive that just occurred before, being able to openly communicate, say they go up to the judge's booth, they set up something where they can call and you guys can publicly be broadcast. Here's this guy's question. Do it in a professional manner from both sides of it, and you guys can answer. Either one of you have a problem with doing that?
Not at all. And like, I mean, sometimes I'll get like Facebook messages from like guys like that aren't nice. So I sometimes I snap back a little bit, but I mean, there's many things on Twitter I think where I've commented back and I'm like, okay, thank you for the clarification. Or even in a race I was in and somebody gets placed and they don't get placed. I mean, I don't mind answering any question. If I have the time, I'll answer whatever. It doesn't. I think it helps more than hurts, you know. And whether they take it the wrong way or they don't like the answer, you just got to give the, you know, as honest answer as you possibly can, and that's what I mean. It should help.
yeah, I have no problem with that either. I think it'd be a good idea. You know, there needs to be more changes in this business so that way it'll last more than another 5 years. And we need to adjust to, you know, today, not yesterday. Yeah, and I get Facebook messages or Twitter messages all the time, but I don't know, it just motivates me to go.
Or they just post on your wall, and then I had to rebuttal for it. I went nuts on somebody one time.
I always ask them to come down in the winner's circle the next race, so.
Sorry about that. That's me. All right, Allison has a question from online.
And you guys are both obviously younger generation. You're big consumers of sports, other sports, et cetera, et cetera. What, if you could be the czar of harness racing for a day, what's one thing each of you would change, big or small, in the business to make it more appealing to your generation?
Oh, man. Like, one thing I would change, I think they should mandatorily make a driver or trainer every single night have something similar to this before the races. I think that they should pick maybe a driver and a trainer every single night. You know what I mean? To either go over the program, have people ask questions, things like that. I think that I'm all about keeping this sport alive and making, you know, new fans and keeping the fans that we have and the gamblers we have. And I think they just don't have us in the public eye enough. You know, every single thing we do is scrutinized because no one knows the answers. I really would like to. I mean, I would do it if I had the time. I would do it every night. You know, but I just really think that we really need to be more in depth with the public.
I wish it wasn't so time consuming. Like Northfield, like they drag out the races, and you know that's because they're getting a lot of betting from Vegas or around the country. So I just wish that maybe the time would be a little better. Like you know, like Aaron races double header, so it wouldn't work out for him. But I would rather race a little earlier and be done at 9 rather than be done at midnight and get home at 2 in the morning every night. So maybe one day they'll change that.
Run them off like qualifiers.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that, just maybe keep it consistent post time. No.
And this is going back to, you know, you've said people have said things to you on social media, and maybe a lot of other drivers and trainers are a little scared of it because of that. What's the meanest thing somebody's ever said to you, and how did you respond?
Let me count the things. No, just say like you're the worst driver ever. I cannot believe that you ever get any drives.
Oh my
blah,
God,
blah,
that's
blah,
so
blah.
mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some serious profanity thrown at my way.
I think some guy told me I should cut off my hands and die. I think.
Right. Well, they hope my car battery. I hope I'm checking my oil and the car battery explodes in my face. Just things like that. You know, I mean, they lost their 50-cent pick 5 or whatever they must have had. I don't know. And I just say, listen, we're out here doing the best we can. I mean, I usually don't go back with extreme choice words for him because I think. I mean, I don't want to lose a fan possibly, but he's probably just mad. You're usually only mad for one race anyway, and then they're betting right on you the next race, so what's the big deal?
Yeah, I would have more to say if they actually said it in person. Like, I mean, they're sending a message on Facebook. I really don't care to respond. But, no, I enjoy when, you know, the guy on the apron, when you go around for the next race, has something to say. I think it's hilarious.
Hey, dude, a guy said to me something a couple times yesterday. I was like, dude, I was like shaking my head. But I think I responded for you a couple times, Evan. I was giving that phone. I said, I'll take care of that.
All right, that's all the time we have for these guys. Be sure to sign up with Topher in the blue shirt. He has sign-up sheets for the USTA prize drawings. Again, Hoofbeats subscriptions, T-shirts, photos from the Hoofbeats photo archive. He's got those there. At 9:50, we have Trainer Brian Brown and Charlie Thomas and Robert Wingfield. Thank you, Aaron Merriman and Ronnie Wrenn Jr.
been running circles lately, I've been doing time. I've been on the avenue, spinning out my mind. And I've been on a t-shirt lady, I've been on TV. I've been looking through your eyes, and that's my tragedy. I really want to tell you now, maybe if I'm allowed, maybe if I can teach you all the things you know by now. I really want to beat the world, maybe if I'm allowed, maybe if there's a moonbeam with a color I know how. Tell me, is it real, Kamala? Am I up as high as I feel, or am I dying? Tell me, is it real, Kamala? Am I up as high as I feel, or am I dying? I've been trying to reach you lately, I've been on my knees.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the USTA Speaker Series. I'm your host, TJ Burkett. Thank you, everyone who signed up for the USTA Speaker Series prize drawings. I have 6 photos from the Little Brown Jug winners from our archives, as well as a Ohio Super Night T-shirt. I'll give those out now. The T-shirt will go to Len Singer. Len Singer, are you still here? If you are, find Allison. But we're going to move on. Little Brown Jug photo, Ralph Deshevsky. Ralph, are you still here? If you are, find Allison. Little Brown Jug photo to Dave Thompson. Dave Thompson. And I give a Hoofbeat subscription to Mike Spearman. Mike Spearman. I'll just mail that to you. And one more Little Brown Jug photo to Max Ginn. All right, let's get started, folks. Got some very special guests today. We have the trainer of 2 jug starters, Lost for Words and Rise Up Now. He also has 3 horses in today's jugette and a whole other list of horses on the undercard, too. This is trainer Brian Brown. Everyone give a big hand to trainer Brian Brown. We're also joined by part of the ownership team behind 2014 Little Brown Jug winner Limelight Beach. We have with us today Charlie, Tom, and Bob Wingfield. I think everyone knows how this works by now. I'm going to ask them a couple of questions. We're going to get them started, and then if you have a question for any one of these 4 gentlemen, be sure to raise your hand. I'll come over with the microphone and ask them whatever you want. We're also live streaming this on the internet, taking questions from Facebook and Twitter, folks on the internet. So we'll get started right now with today's card. Brian Brown, tell us about your 3 starters in the jugette. What are their names, and what do you think of each of their chances in today's race?
I have Triple V Hanover, Somewhere Sweet, and Serious Philly. Triple V drew the rail. I'm not sure what race she's in, but she's a speed horse. As long as she don't get beat up going to the quarter, she can go fast. Real nice horse, can get around the turns good. With the rail, I think she should be really good today. Like I said, it just depends on how hard she has to get to the quarter. If she can even stay on the front. If she can stay on the front and not get abused, she should be really good. Somewhere Sweet drew the 5-hole. She is in with Serious Philly, which drew the rail. Somewhere Sweet's a really handy horse, not quite as big as the other 2. You can do either way. Go, leave, get in and follow. I'm not sure how this is going to work out in a 6-horse field out of the 5-hole unless she gets away up near the front. She gets away in the back, you always worry about the no speed in the race. As soon as everybody lines up, they all slow down. Well, she's set in 5th and they go slow fractions, we're in trouble. But she can come, she can sit on the outside for a while, not all day, but for a while. The other filly in the same race, Serious Filly, kind of a bigger horse. She's not a quick speed. The rail will help her, but I don't know how well she can use it to her advantage. She has a little more trouble with her gait. So Scotty Zeron's driving. He's going to have to try to be careful, but he's still going to have to try to use the rail and get away the best he can. And with my other horse having the 5-hole, I hope he's the one to help pressure the pace and get him down to the quarter and the half on time so that my other filly has a chance to.
Let's move on to the jug. You have the 2-1 morning line favorite, Lost for Words, in the first elimination heat, I believe, and then also Rise Up Now. Tell us about those 2 horses and what you think about each of them.
Lost for Words has been a terrific little horse. He's had a couple bad races, and that was more of me monkeying with his Lasix. He will bleed. He got skinny on us, so we backed his Lasix off to try to keep him from getting kind of dehydrated, and he just kind of looked like he shrunk up after you gave it to him. He bled over Lasix a couple times, and I should have had a better shot of winning the Adios if I'd have kept his Lasix where it was. He was 3rd, only got beat 2 lengths that day. We figured it out that day that we had to go back. He got 3 cc's that day. He gets 5 now. Plus, in Ohio, you get to race on Amicar, which is another thing for bleeding, which really helps the horse. He got it at Northfield and raced great there. Was 2nd to Wiglet Jiglet. The rail, he's a very handy horse, can lead fast. His last start, he had the outside, got to the front in 1/4 and 25 and 4. Got beat 3/4 length in 48 and 1. He should be really good off the rail tomorrow. This track is a speed track, so I haven't even talked to David. I don't tell him what to do, but my guess is he will be on or near the front. You just don't know what the pressure is going to be. You can't just go and go and go. You still have to use some kind of strategy, and that's David's department. We expect him to be really good. The 2nd division, Rise Up Now, he's kind of a bigger, not clumsy horse, but he's not near as handy as Lost for Words. He was really good early in the year. He wins 6 out of 7. He's kind of flattened out lately. We've been making bridle changes. The horse really raced pretty good last week. He just got down to the 3/4 in 21 and 4. He got beat 2 lengths and still raced good, but when you get beat, it makes him look bad. But I think with the trip, that horse will do well. His problem is he drew in with Art Speak and Wiglet Jiglet. So he's going to have to find a trip and hope he can make the final.
For those of you just joining us, we're here with trainer Brian Brown, Charlie Wingfield, Tom Wingfield, and Bob Wingfield. They're the ownership team behind Little Brown Jug winner Limelight Beach. And Wingfields, for those of us who've never owned a jug winner, can you tell us what that feeling is like when you were standing in the winner's circle last year?
Something I never thought would happen. It was pretty special.
It was so amazing to win a race like that with so much family and everybody around, so many friends. It was just made it so rewarding, just unbelievable.
Really, in the winner's circle, it hadn't really sunk in yet.
Well, afterward, how did you celebrate?
We partied for 3 days.
Yeah, a week later we had a get-together in Kenton, Ohio with a lot of people showed and helped us celebrate.
Take us through that horse's season coming up to it, because I know Brian trained the horse for a while, and then you sold a majority interest to the Ron Burt team. But they also kept you on as minority owners in the horse. How important was that to be able to stay
We
with
didn't
the horse?
sell anything. We kept our quarter. The other partners sold to Burt.
Okay.
I'm happy to the Burks that they allowed us to stay on, that was part of the equation if any of us wanted to stay. And Charlie's been doing this for 50 years, and we had a horse that we knew was jug material, and this is really important to Charlie, and that was the main reason we stayed in. If we had a chance to have a horse in the jug, even if he wasn't up to top what he was doing at the time, we were in for staying.
Anything to add there, Bob?
When we decided, when we was asked, Brian called us, and we were on a vacation, all of us together, about whether we should sell or not. You know, he's told that the others were going to sell, and we talked about it and decided, yeah, we just really wanted to have the chance to have the horse in the jug. We should have known it was going to turn out all right because we were on our Vegas vacation at that time.
I'll open the floor to questions. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead and raise your hand. We do have something from the internet, I believe. Allison Conti.
Is this on? Yeah. This is a question for Brian. You have the filly Ginger Shark, who's been undefeated and racing in Indiana. They'd like to know, will we see her race again this year, or what are the plans for her next year?
It's still up in the air right now. She has a hop that's been bothering her. It's been big all year and never bothered her. After her last race, it swelled up and she showed soreness, so we backed completely off. You know, she's won all 6 starts this year. It's been really impressive every time, and we don't want to do anything that might jeopardize her next year. And she is eligible to the Jugette next year. She's still in training, but we're not sure if she is going to race this year.
All right. Wingfield, we have you on here because you're owners, and we usually don't get a lot of owners for the Little Brown Jug Speaker Series, so we want to talk to you about ownership. Charlie, you said you started 50 years. You've been in this for 50 years. Tell us how you got into the sport, and tell us your journey to get to the Little Brown Jug Winner's Circle.
Well, I've been coming to the jug for 50 years, 51 this year. And ever since I got out of high school, and my uncle had horses, and we followed him around the fairs and Hilliard Raceway and Scioto Downs, and I really enjoyed going. And then I bought my first horse. I don't know what year it was. It was in the 70s.
How in the world do you go about choosing a trainer to train your horses?
I've had a few of them. I don't know. They just, some people get along with them.
Now, if somebody was brand new to becoming an owner, what recommendations do you have for selecting who to train your horses?
I guess everybody's got their own opinion, but just pick some guy that's successful, like Brian.
Well, Brian, I was going to ask you the other side of that question. When you bring on new owners, how do you go about getting them? How do you get new owners to buy horses for you?
Usually it's probably word of mouth in this business, but in this business you don't advertise. Your advertisement is the horses that's on the track, your success, what your horses look like, how well you do. And then when people come to talk to you, it's how you get along with that person. Personalities, it's no different in this business than anything else. Either you get along with somebody and everything works out great, or you have 2 different personalities, or probably you have the same personality. And sometimes you just clash. It doesn't work. I've had best friends get horses and never do any good for them. And, you know, you want to do good for those people, and it just doesn't work. So they go to somebody else, and sometimes it works better for them. But it's all about word of mouth. If you've never owned a horse, you should get in contact with the USTA first, and then the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association, and those people will help direct you in the right direction of information about getting a horse and trainers' names. And you know, in this business, the main thing is get in with a trainer that's honest is the main thing.
Again, I'll open the floor to questions. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll continue talking about that, Brian, about training. Have you ever had any owners that never owned horses with any other trainer before? And if so, how did you handle them?
No, I don't think I have. I've had owners that their first horse, Gordon, I guess. I've had owners with horses that owned horses, and I was their first trainer, and we still have those. But they did still wind up having other trainers, and sometimes that was for me of sending a horse to a different trainer, maybe to race in the winter, or I've had trotters I've sent to different trainers because I couldn't get them figured out, and those trainers helped us out with them.
Wingfields, we have a question over here? Yes? Good.
I have a question for anybody but Brian, you and Mike. When you break a horse, break a yearling, how soon after you break them do you think they're going to make it at 2?
Well, that's a question that you really don't know, because you have horses that from day one, as soon as you put the jog cart on the first day, they take off on the pace, they're great gated, and you think, wow, you know, you really have something. As you go, those horses might look great all the way down until it's time to race. And trained great, sound, done everything right. You start putting them behind the gate, and they get what we call chicken. They don't like to set on the outside. They're lazy. They just don't have the heart for it. Then you have the ones that they can either be terrible gated, lazy. You don't think much of them. You get them trained down. You put those behind the gate, and then all of a sudden something clicks with them, and they take off. It's all more to do with the horse's guts and his heart, how much desire he has. Most all horses have some kind of a problem, lameness, sickness, small. The ones that turn into be good horses are the ones that just want to be good horses.
Okay, you actually answered my other question, so thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Any other questions right now? Here we have Dave Brower. He's the analyst on the CBS Sports Network broadcast, The Little Brown Jug.
Thank you very much, TJ. Gentlemen, just want to say thank you all for giving up a little time on your Wednesday morning to come on and talk to us. Brian, for you, lost for words. Give us an idea of the progression of a 3-year-old colt pacing season. There's often 2 halves to it. There's the getting ready for the big races, and a lot of 3-year-olds in harness racing history have had a tremendous second half of the season after they peak, kind of like no pan intended. Remember, he got real good late in the summer and then dominated the rest of the year. When I look at Lost for Words, I see a lot of no pan intended in him. Is he getting better? Is he at his peak? And how have you guided him through that season?
Like I said earlier, I was messing with his Lasix, and there was a part of the season where he wasn't as good, and that was probably more my fault. But he was really good. His first 4 starts he won. He was second in the hemp elimination. That's when I started messing with his Lasix. He didn't race as good. But with him, he's not a real big horse. He's kind of thin. We didn't even stake him to the Meadowlands Pace or the North American Cup for that reason, because we didn't figure he would last all year if we tried all that. So we tried to spread his races out. Of course, you try to have him good for all the races. So we didn't really plan his, like you said, real good early or try to peak him late in the year. We tried to have him good through the year, but his last race was actually his best race of the year. I don't know if that was necessarily anything I did. I think it was just him. He has foot trouble. His back got sore. He got thin. He has his own masseuse chiropractor that helped resolve some of those problems. His feet are better, and he just from feeling better, I think he's gained weight just from not being sore. And he's a tough little horse. He tries his heart out every time. So I think last time we probably just raced him harder because we had the outside. And for some reason, he just kept going the other day. He raced really good.
All right, we're at your home grounds here. It's the Little Brown Jug. You've got the rail, and you've got David Miller. Is it a fair statement on our part to say that you're a little bit confident going in?
Yeah, I don't like to be overconfident because I think all I do is set myself up for heartbreak. But yes, you know, when you talk about home track, I don't believe it means much here. I've said to other people that have asked, it's such a good track that most horses can get around this track with no problem. They do a good job of keeping the footing right, and the track sets kind of down low. And when you put all the people around the outside, it's like there's no wind down there, so you have no wind resistance. It's just a fast place to be, so I don't think I get an advantage. If we were at a smaller track, like a county fair track, sure, I think I could have an advantage. But this track is so good that I don't see anybody having problems.
All right, thanks so much, Brian, and best of luck tomorrow. Quick question for the Wingfields here, because this is such a special place for them and a big moment here. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys since last year, and TJ may have asked you this before. Tell us the first thoughts that went through your mind after Limelight Beach crossed the wire and was declared Little Brown Jug champion. Can you give us an idea of what you were thinking, what went through your mind, and how fast it took you to cross the track and get to the winner's circle?
I was over there first.
I think I was last.
Tom's the youngest. It's just, couldn't believe it. It's just like surreal, and just thought it something we always would, be great to have happen, but never thought it would actually be possible.
I got home at midnight and watched you on TV to make sure it was real.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate that. That's for sure. How was our broadcast? Did we pay homage to the
I watch it
horse
at least once a week.
Well, we hope you guys will at least DVR it this year. We know you're going to be here live enjoying all the festivities. Again, on behalf of all of us at CBS and all the fans here at the Jug and listening online, thanks so much for taking the part to, taking the time to talk to us again. We really appreciate it. This speaker series gets a lot of great coverage. A lot of people are listening, and they always want to hear your input. So thanks, gentlemen. Good luck today. Good luck tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of the fair.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. I see a question back here, and then we have one up in the front.
Thank you. What's a ballpark figure cost to race a horse for a year? Training, stake payments, vet, the whole ball of wax. And I know it varies from horse to horse, and from trainer to trainer, but what would be a reasonable figure?
When you're trying to deal with a horse that could be in the Jug, it is more expensive because your payments, you have farther travels. I'm going to guess anywhere, without including the purchase price, 30 to 50,000, depending on how much you staked him, how much the travel, of course your vet bill. I don't know if there's a good answer, but somewhere in that ballpark. Everybody charges different rates. The little things that go along with a horse like this, you send that horse, like our horse, he only usually goes the day before, stay overnight, race, stay overnight, ship home the next day. So you have 2 nights of hotel bills for the groom. I usually pay my own hotel bill, but the owner pays the groom's hotel bill. So, you can get a lot of money wrapped up. These bigger races, you have entry fees that can get pretty expensive too. So, I'm not 100% sure. My wife does all the billings, but my guess is somewhere between 30 is probably really on the low end. 50 is probably somewhere closer to the real truth.
Okay, thank you. Great question. I have a question right here, sir.
Not necessarily a question, but I was walking across the infield with Charlie last year when we were going to the winner's circle. Charlie was worried half sick. He wasn't going to get there in time. I said, Charlie, they're not going to take a picture till you get there. Right, Charlie? Right. And so he kind of settled down a little then, I think.
Yeah, they'll wait for you. When you win a little brown jug, they wait for you to get there for you. Get your picture taken.
Brian, circuit, what would be a fair number for a year's worth of racing for a horse?
Again, that's based on the trainer you go to. In my barn, I'm guessing it would be around 30,000. I'm sure there's other trainers that are less expensive than myself, and I would have guessed you'd be 20,000 maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, my wife takes care of all the billings. The only time I really get involved with that is if there is some kind of problem.
Just for comparison, I've been racing the Iowa circuit with some trips to Running Aces, and $10,000 a year will keep a horse racing. And of course, a lot of the fellas in the Iowa circuit, as well as here, they do their own stuff, and that cuts the out-of-pocket costs down quite a bit.
Right. If you were an owner and a trainer, then of course your bill's going to be a lot less. You just have the fee, the shipping. The 30 to 50,000 is more. You're paying a trainer. When you're trying to race on the level of the Grand Circuit, your vet bills. It's not always more because a lot of these better horses don't always require the vet work that some of the average horses take.
Now, for the 30 to 50,000, what share of the horses, what percentage of the horses would you say pay their costs?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. If you went through the sale book of the yearling sales, it would probably scare you how many didn't either race or couldn't pay their way.
Yeah. I've heard 5% in the standard breds and 2% in the thoroughbreds.
I'm a trainer, so I hope it's a lot better than that.
May I ask one more question of the Wingfields? I'm Mark Ken Davis and Sons in Richwood, Ohio. You've got some fans down there. I was on the back stretch. This is kind of a follow-up of an earlier question when you won the jug last year, and I watched it look like about a third to a half of Hardin County going across the infield to get to the winner's circle. There was one fella, he was an old fella about my age, and he was way at the tail end. He kept plugging away. He made it. And then on the way back, he came back under his own power. I just wonder if you know who that was and what his relationship was to you. Because I really would like to know. There must be a story there among lots of stories. Well,
I don't know. I was first.
And he was last. Well, Yannick and Burke came back last. And I got Yannick's autograph. I'm still a fan. There's one more question. You got a winner in the jug, and Brian has had a lot of winners. Today, Yogi Berra died, and I'm thinking what baseball would have been like if Yogi Berra had retired after 3 or 4 years of playing baseball. Now, we retire a lot of our champions into stud duty and some of our mares so they can be in full. And I think how much better the sport would be if we kept our older horses racing. And in my opinion, I've been watching a lot of races. You get the 4-year-olds and over in a race, you're going to have a good race. Whereas many of the 2-year-olds, they get strung out, and you can't count on a 2-year-old what they're going to do. And that's just a thought that if you have any reactions to that, I understand the economics. If you've got a good horse with a record, you want to put him into stud service, that's where the money is. You don't want to keep racing him for fear he'll get injured. And I just like your reaction to that, because I'm concerned that the sport is not as popular as it should be. And I think if we kept our champions racing, it would be good for the sport.
And you're right there, and they've tried to do that lately with the 4-year-old rule of if you went to stud, your horses wouldn't be eligible to certain races, the foals out of that horse. But you've answered your own question, the economics of it. When you get offered a chance to stand a 3-year-old at stud at the end of his year, you're going to probably make more money with less expenses, at least for a couple years till his foals get on the track to see what they're going to do. It's just hard to turn that money down. Like everybody says, the money doesn't go lame, the horse will. And plus, you answered the other part. When the 4-year-olds, and it's tough on the 4-year-olds to race the 5 and 6-year-olds, but when those horses all get together, it's so tough that bad posts, bad trips, you walk away with nothing 4 or 5 times. You've got a lot of money invested in, you're not getting anywhere. The age group can get so tough that's one of the reasons why people want to go to studs. If you race that 3-year-old that was a champion as a 4-year-old, he's racing the 5 and 6-year-olds and he starts getting beat, all of a sudden people don't look at your 3-year-old champion as well as they did when he was 3, and then your breedings go down. So then again, you're costing yourself money.
And it's also true that the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds get the purse money, in my experience, compared to the 4 and over.
Right. This business is geared more toward 2 and 3-year-olds. Luckily, we have the slot machines at most places that help you race older horses.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is the money as at 2 and 3. So we race horses so hard anymore. A lot of them, the ones we do get to the races, don't make it till they're 5 and 6.
Yeah. I've even thought 2 years maybe is too soon to start a horse racing. I had a splint problem, for example, with a 2-year-old. I'm sure we started him too soon.
It very well could have been, but the problem is if you had to wait until that horse was 3 to be his first start, if we made a rule that you couldn't race 2-year-olds, then the broodmare farms have to keep that horse for another year. So they've got 3 crops standing in the field instead of 2, so their expenses go up a lot more. And I doubt when you go to the sale if that horse is going to bring any more money. So not only are you're changing the way we as trainers have to do that, you're changing the broodmare farms that a lot of them are barely hanging on now. If they had another year's expenses before making money, it'd be really tough on them.
It gets right back to economics again.
That's it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions there. That's what this is all about. This is the USTA Speaker Series. Trainer Brian Brown, Charlie Wingfield, Tom Wingfield, and Bob Wingfield. We have another question over here, and I'm going to keep the floor open, and we have about 15 more minutes. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Brian, for you on the business side, on the economic side, in terms of ownership, I don't know you personally. Do you own a lot of horses? Do you partner with owners? Do they request that? Are you open to that?
Usually I own too many. We usually go in partners, and I'll have a few that will own just ourselves. I have a son and a son-in-law that's just getting started in the business. They want to try to drive. So when they're first starting out, they make all the mistakes everybody does. So you don't like to have them driving owners' horses. They have to make money to pay the bills, same as mine, but it's a little easier for me to take the blunt of that. But no, we try to split horses up. If you own one whole horse, you got all the bills. If you owned a fourth of 4 horses, you same thing as owning a whole horse, but you get 4 chances instead of 1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We have a couple of questions here. We have one here.
I just want to know for your brothers, how many horses you guys in on now? How many do you own?
We have 4 right now. A quarter of 3 and 12% of 1.
Tell us a little bit more about them.
But we got Manhattan Beach is the 12%. He's a full brother to Limelight Beach. We have him with Ronnie Burke. And then we've got racing tomorrow. We got Mr. Wright in Mr. Wright Hanover with Brian. And then we got a filly that we had to turn out. Time saver.
All right, we have a question way back in the back here.
This is for Brian. With going to Florida, how hard is it? How hard is it to find help and keep help? And a lot of you help being family. How hard is it to keep them all happy at the same time?
Impossible. When you go to Florida, it's not hard to find help when you first get there because there's always somebody coming by looking for a job. But once you're there a month, we usually go late November. By the late December, those people that are looking have either found a job or they've moved on to another farm looking for help or for a job. So you need to be in place mid-December or you could be in trouble. You might have to do a lot more work than you thought you would have to do.
Mine's for the Wingfield brothers, and I've known him since I was a little girl, so I've got one question. What was the drinking game you played to decide who was taking the trophy home with you?
Well, in the end, we all got a trophy.
But if you want to know what went home, just ask Judy, because she got everything.
I think we have time for one more question. Anybody have one more question for these guys? All right. Again, thank you so much. Trainer Brian Brown and the Wingfield brothers. Good luck today. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck for the rest of the year. Everyone give them a big hand. Thanks so much for coming in. We'll start up again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Roger Houston, Sam McKee, and Dave Bianconi will handicap the Little Brown Jug card. We'll start coffee and donuts at 7 a.m. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.
Take it.
Thank you very much.
And I've been on the ocean lately, I've been through the trees. I went out with Bowie in the 1970s. I really want to tell you now.